Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. Over 100 people dead in Niger State as a tanker exploded. In 2024, Nigeria witnessed at least 47 fuel tanker explosions, causing over 330 deaths and 354 injuries. Among the worst was the October explosion in Jigawa State, killing about 209 people. Another deadly incident occurred in Niger State in September, where a tanker explosion claimed 48 lives, highlighting the urgent need for better safety measures. On January 18, 2025, a petrol-laden tanker overturned in Diko, Niger State, spilling fuel. As people rushed to scoop the fuel, an explosion killed over 100 people, including women and children, and injured many others. Hospitals were overwhelmed, rejecting victims due to severe burns. Governor Muhammed Bago expressed deep sorrow and urged citizens to prioritize safety. The explosion has again spotlighted the dangers of inadequate safety measures in Nigeria's fuel transportation system, prompting calls for urgent government action. Joining us this morning is Muhammed Abdullahi. He is a public relations expert. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Nigerians. My pleasure. My condolences to the families of the explosions.
Yes, our deepest condolences to them. So for you, I mean, listening or hearing this story, what was your initial reaction knowing that this is something that has occurred not just once, but many times in Nigeria? So was it due to negligence? Was it, just an accident? And, the sensitization of the people, knowing that a fuel-laden tanker has exploded, but then they're thinking that that's the best time to go scoop out the fuel. What was your initial reaction to this story?
First and foremost, it's actually one too many sad reoccurrence in our history. Like you mentioned, more than 44 issues of this in a year. I mean, in 2024. And then just another year, we're having more than 100 people killed in such a gory situation. There are many factors to this. And to start with, the Federal Road Safety Corps, it does, I'm sorry, but it does look like they are only charged with monitoring private vehicles, and maybe at best to some extent, commercial buses as well. But seriously, there need to be a serious safety check on petrol tankers, not only petrol tankers, including the ones that transport goods across the country. I think the safety measures on these trucks is very, very poor. It's very, very poor. One, you find out that the drivers are very reckless to some extent. They are very reckless. They feel that they own the road. They feel that they have the right to, even where they have a lot of traffic, they drive recklessly. So that's one part. Sorry, that's two parts now. I mean, in terms of regulations, in terms of safety measures, we need to up our game. We've been so passive. I think it is high time that, the Federal Road Safety Corps, take this responsibility seriously. I don't know, perhaps maybe from the loading point, we needed to be checking these tankers if they are worthy of the road. We needed to have tests for the drivers if they are capable and able. You understand? And for instance, you are driving from Lagos to Kaduna, for instance, or even Lagos to Abuja. Is there supposed to be just one driver for, a large portion of our roads that are terrible? Is there supposed to be just one driver? Perhaps when he or she feels falls asleep, what happened? You understand? So these are some of the safety measures we need to put in place. And it's so urgent now. We can't keep losing people's lives. I mean, people can't keep losing their lives, due to these measures. That is one. Second, like I said, the drivers themselves, the trucks themselves, what are the safety measures from the companies and even the regulators? Two. Then lastly, Nigerians. We understand that, yes, times are very hard. Everywhere is difficult. The inflation is high everywhere. People can no longer eat like they used to do. But this does not mean we should jeopardize our life. I mean, put our lives in so much high risk. For God's sake, I saw the video and unfortunately, again, I grew up around that area. In fact, I grew up in Suleja. which is part of Niger State, And in fact, last 3 weeks, I still passed through that road and route to Kaduna. So it's a place I know very well. And to make matters worse, that Saturday that thing happened, it is the market day of Diko. So that route is very busy, very, very busy. Now this thing happened because of the lack of sensitization, from Nigerians. People rush out to scoop free fuel, further, making the danger more worrisome. And as a result of this, I wouldn't want to say greediness. These people have died now. It's not in our culture to say bad about the dead.
Yes.
But I think it's high time people understand that we can't keep risking our lives, due to the fact that, yes, the country is hard. When there is such occurrences, we need to stay clear of that environment. And in fact, I also know that there is a road safety office along that corridor. What happened when this thing happened? That they couldn't cordon off that area as soon as possible, because I saw the video again. I saw the fact that people had to go into the tanker to, remove the lid to allow the content of the tanker, fall through so that they could scoop more.
Yeah.
If the road safety and other security agencies have done their job diligently earlier, perhaps this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. So even the president has made a statement, and he said, obviously, he sent his condolences to the families, but he also said that this is sad. However, it was preventable because, from what you're saying, if the road safety people were there to ensure that that whole borderline is being closed off, people cannot just go and scoop fuel, it could have been prevented. And which now leads to, the question, how do you think, maybe we need to transport, because these are inflammable products. And for people, there's going to be a lot of sensitization to be done for them to understand that you cannot just be going near a fuel-laden tanker to scoop out fuel because you need money, right? How do we ensure that we can even transport these inflammable products, safely, whereby there are no accidents like this? Because I'm sure the road infrastructure also plays, a major role in this. So if we're talking about safety measures and talking about sensitization, what do we need to be doing right now?
That portion of the road along Diko is actually very terrible. Even if you drive a four-wheel vehicle, you have to be extra careful around there. It's very, very terrible. The road is so bad and so on and so forth. And, like I said, the reckless driving of these tanker drivers, they feel they own the road. Everywhere they drive recklessly and so on. And the fact that our roads are terrible. For instance, since I have known myself, except while I was schooling in Kaduna Polytechnic so many years back. This road between Abuja, the federal capital of Nigeria, and Kaduna, the capital of the north, that is less than 150 or 160 kilometers, has been in comatose. It was on the news, a few days ago before this incident that the Minister of Information was saying perhaps in 14 months, the road will be back to normal. I pray so. But we've been having so much of these promises in the past. Just 150 kilometers of road connecting two important cities we are unable to fix in Nigeria. And it's all across the country, So, but coming back to your question, we don't have what other mechanism or what other infrastructure do we have to transport inflammable product across the country? It's non-existent. If we talk about the rail is just only limited to very few cities in the country. And in fact, those rails are not constructed for to transport inflammable products. So you can't even try it. You understand? They are meant to transport passengers only. So the only available resource, mechanism, is the road. But many of these roads are not in good shape. Seriously. In fact, even a bit better now, the dry season. When it's rainy season, it's shocking. I keep telling everybody just to listen. It's only in Nigeria that I know, perhaps in West Africa that I've been. I've been to more than 18 countries across the globe. It's only in Nigeria that I know, even in Accra, between Kumasi, in Ghana, between Kumasi and Accra, you have double lane roads that is functional. In South Africa, between Johannesburg and Cape Town, you have functional N1 road that is functional. It's only in Nigeria that, you decided to take the federal capital from Lagos, the commercial city, to Abuja, and none for the past 30 or 40 years, nobody thought of creating a dedicated road between your two important cities. Even the connecting roads, whether in Ondo, in Okene, in Ekiti, they are all in comatose. You understand? So it's shocking. So what other mechanisms or what other options do you have? It's just this road.
Yeah, but how about because if we're talking about safer ways to transport this, how about investing into the infrastructure of pipelines? Isn't that going to be, a safer way? Because if we install all of these pipelines, that, I don't know how it works, but maybe you turn it on from here and then it gets to the other place. Isn't that going to be safer than, people's lives being at stake when it's on the road?
It is. And I know some times ago, perhaps maybe 20, 30 years ago, for instance, even the studio that you mentioned, along, not too far from that Depot Junction, we have a place called Maje, like maybe 5-6 kilometers from there. There is an NNPC depot there that used to get fuel from the Kaduna refinery and so on. And all these are transported by but I don't think these are functional anymore. Like I said, we are a country that lacks maintenance. We are a country that do not invest in infrastructure. Even when we do, in 2-3 years, they go comatose and nobody says anything and it is there. So in the foreseeable future, because if you talk about investing in pipeline, it's something that is not easy to be, for us to do. But it's possible if we really want to do that. But again, I don't see it happening easily. I think the easiest way is regulation. Like I mentioned earlier in your very first question, we need to regulate this. It seems the FRC alone is just regulating private vehicles. Seriously, that's what I'm thinking. I think their job needs to extend beyond just checking papers of private vehicles. They need to be there when these trucks are loading. They need to certify the drivers. They need to certify the trucks, and then perhaps remotely also, we need to fix our roads, because remotely it's also part of this cost. Seriously, it's part of the cost of some of the accidents. And then lastly, we need to sensitize people.
Yeah.
And then again, and then we need to act fast. We are too laid back. Like I said, this thing happened, and if you've seen the video of this disaster, it took more than 10, 15, or even more minutes for people to go open the tank.
Yeah, I was just about to even ask. I was just about to ask about, the emergency response systems that we have in Nigeria. What does this say about them? Because another thing that was even said were, the hospitals were overwhelmed there. So this explosion has already happened. How are people responding to that? But even before it happens, how is it being prevented? How are we responding to accidents on the road?
It is best to prevent them. And like I said, I know there is a road safety office along that corridor, very close to that area where that thing happened. What did they do immediately that happened? You understand?
Yeah.
Now, like I said, in fact, this particular incident was so preventable, because the video I saw, the fuel wasn't gushing out easily. People had to go, open the lid, allow the fuel to gush out before they started scooping. So if we've had fast emergency response, this should have been prevented. You understand? What were the road safety guys doing? Because there was an office along there, and the vehicle is always along the road. In fact, that day there was a market day, you will find their vehicle stationed around that place where that incident happened. So what did they do? You understand? They allow people to, unfortunately, to do what they had to do. And then this is the result. So our emergency response is very poor as well. We need to up our game in that area.
Okay, so final question. What lessons should we learn from here now? What's the call to action? What can we do, or what should the government and even the citizens do to prevent such explosion again? Because like I've said, it's happening time and time again, and it seems like we're not learning. So at what point do we know that the safety of Nigerians, is crucial, and ensuring that things like this don't just happen, that is claiming the lives of our citizens?
We all have a role to play, from the government to the regulators and then the citizens. I have mentioned this again and again. We need to up our game. The citizens, irrespective of the fact that, yes, times are very hard, we do not need to, indulge in high-risk venture. In fact, this is a life-threatening venture, and we've seen the result. And it keeps happening over and over again. Just in October, in Jigawa, 200 souls at the same issue. In fact, this has happened in Niger in 2023. I mean, some part of Niger, not that particular part. So we are not learning, like you said, but we need to learn, and we need to be active, all the citizens, the government, and the regulators. I have said, in my own opinion, the road safety or whatsoever security apparatuses that is supposed to check, ensure road safety in Nigeria needed from the point of loading. Not only the driver, certify the vehicle. Or again, another issue we are not discussing, even the vehicles. Some are terrible, some are not in good shape, you understand? So the brakes sometimes are failing and they put them on the road. So these are some of the things that the regulator is supposed to regulate. So the government should be serious about this. Every time things happen, we just give out statement, and that's all. And then, like we say, astaghfirullah, God forbid, we are just waiting for the next occurrence. It shouldn't be this way. There should be actions. There should be things that we learn from this one, and then we make sure we implement them so that we don't have future occurrence. But this is not the case in Nigeria. You understand? So I think everybody needs to up their game, both the government, the citizens, and the regulators, to make sure that this is not a regular occurrence in our society anymore.
Yeah, we hope not. We hope that we're going to learn from this and ensuring the safety of everyone in Nigeria. Muhammad, I want to say thank you so much for coming. It's been a pleasure having you on our program this morning, discussing this with you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, my pleasure.
Thank you. All right, so we're speaking with Muhammed Abdullahi, is a public relations expert. I've just been talking about the fact that over 100 lives have been claimed in a tanker explosion in Niger State. We'll go on a short break now. When we return, we'll be discussing Niger Delta youths who have protested all block licenses awarded to outsiders. Please stay with us.